You're listening to Robyn Rocket's Zoom Zoom podcast. I'm Robyn Rocket. I play space trumpet and I put on gigs at Cafe Oto called Robyn's Rocket. And in this episode, I'd like to talk to you about my album project, Robyn Rocket, and people you may have heard of. It was part funded by an Arts Council England project grant, a Performing Rights Society Foundation Open Fund grant, and the vinyl pressing was funded by a Kickstarter campaign. Kickstarter is a crowdfunding website where people put money into a project and then they get something back, like a vinyl record, for example. The idea for the project was that I wanted to bring together improvising musicians on 3 different days in 3 different studios and a mix each day of people from the different communities I'm part of. The communities I'm part of musically are Cafe Oto, which is a venue in East London, the Total Refreshment Centre where I have my studio, and the learning disability and autism arts scene via arts charity Heart and Soul, who are based in Deptford and believe in the power and talents of people with learning disabilities and autistic people. The reason I wanted to do the project this way is because I think a lot of people with learning disabilities and autistic people who might need some support don't get invited to mainstream projects. And I think some of it is that people don't know we exist, and some of it is they don't know how to put support in place, or even that what support looks like or what might be available. And through this project I brought different people together so they could meet each other, but also because everybody could bring something different. We were all jamming, improvising, we were just making it up as we went along. And it was really fun and I learned a lot from it. The first day was recorded at Snorkel Studios in Forest Hill in South London with Frank Bing. And we had Charles Hayward, John Edwards, Alan Wilkinson and Cheryl Light. And what I learned from that day is when you're doing an improvising project, it's really good if you can all meet together first. So you don't all kind of come at different times. There's something nice about everyone sitting together first, having a cup of tea or orange squash or whatever you want to drink and a biscuit. There's something about that seems important in this kind of setup. Next day was in Toby Burrows' studio, which I think is called Rumba Studios in Deptford, and that was Otto Wilberg on bass, and then Michaela Overton on the djembe, Isaac Palm on drum kit, and Ned Smith on keys. And obviously I played on each day so I played space trumpet on all of the 3 days. And that was really fun. That day we recorded for like an hour and 15 minutes, and we only got one song that ended up on the album out of that, but it's a really great banger. It's a great song. It's called Mystery Man. And the third day was like a mega day of people, because it was Alabaster de Plume, Danalog, Donna Thompson, Mikey Chestnut, Mark Williams, Will King and myself, and then the band Lost Socks, which is a band I was in for a while. And yeah, that was recorded at the Total Refreshment Centre. And it was a really amazing thing to do, to bring loads of people together. And now I have some money to learn how to mix, and so I'm going back over the recordings and mixing some of those tracks. And it feels like really important to be doing that. It's such a simple idea. It's not particularly complicated. It's just inviting people in a room to improvise. And then there were a few vocals added on top. So I commissioned Sam Castell-Ward, who's a fellow Heart and Soul artist, to write a poem, which is on I Was Disconnected. And Sebastian Golgieri improvised some lyrics over 3 takes listening to Mystery Man. And a take is just listening to a track and recording at the same time. And Dean Rodney Jr. did backing vocals on Mystery Man as well. And again, they were just made up in the studio. So it is a simple idea, but I think it's really important to bring people together. And I think it's also really important to remember that before 1990, when the law changed, a lot of people with learning disabilities and some autistic people were just sent to long stay hospitals from the age of 5, often a long way from their families and often forgotten about. And then in 1990 the law changed and long stay hospitals closed and people were moved back to the communities that their families came from. But at this point they might be, say, 55 and they left when they were 5, so they hadn't lived in that community for 50 years. And there was still a lot of segregation, so people were going to day centres, but they were going on special buses, not just regular buses. And so they were still not part of the community. And charities like Intelliquy Arts, based at the Albany, which is a theatre in Deptford, South East London, which is where Heart and Soul is based, and Heart and Soul, went into those day centres and got those people to have their voices heard, but also to go into mainstream spaces, which is how Heart and Soul started working with the Albany. And you can listen to the podcast with Mark and Pino and hear their story. But I think it's really, I think bringing people together is really important. And for me, that's what Robyn Rocket and people you may have heard of was all about. Thanks for listening to this short podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it.